pauses, suggestions, ellipses, whose total effect is a kind of half-light in which the reader can project his or her own imagination. She describes the open window and how Littenoff's voice trembled with feeling as he read to her from the beginning, but says nothing about the room itself, which we are all left to assume must have been Littenoff's, with the drafting table that had once belonged to his landlady's son, and into the corner of which was carved the words of the most important of all Jewish prayers, so that every time Littenoff sat down to write at its sloped surface, he would consciously or unconsciously utter a prayer. Nothing of the narrow bed in which he slept, or the socks he'd washed and wrung out the night before, now draped like two exhausted animals over the back of a chair. Nothing of the single-framed photograph, turned at an angle so that it faced the peeling wallpaper, which Rosa must have looked at when Littenoff excused himself to go down the hall to the bathroom, of a boy and a girl standing with their arms hanging stiffly by their sides, hands clasped, knees bare, stalled in place, while out the window, seen in the far corner of the frame, the afternoon was slowly getting away from them. And though Rosa describes how with time she married her dark crow, how her father died, and the large house of her childhood, with its sweet-smelling gardens, was sold, and somehow they had money, how they bought a small white bungalow on the cliffs above the water outside Valparaiso, and Littenoff was able to give up his job at the school for a while and write most afternoons and evenings. She says nothing of Littenoff's persistent cough, which would often send him out onto the terrace in the middle of the night, where he'd stand gazing out at the black water. Nothing of his long silences, or the way his hands sometimes shook, or how she was watching him grow old before her eyes, as if time were passing more quickly for him than for everything around them. As for Littenoff himself, we know only what is written on the pages of the one book he wrote. He kept no diary and wrote few letters. Those he did write were either lost or destroyed. Aside from a few shopping lists and personal notes and the single page of the Yiddish manuscript Rosa managed to salvage from the flood, there is only one known surviving letter, a postcard from 1964 addressed to a nephew in London. By then, the history had been published in a modest run of a couple of thousand copies, and Littenoff was teaching again, this time because of the bit of esteem gained from his recent publication, a course on literature at the university. The postcard can be viewed in a display case lined with worn blue velvet in the dusty museum of the city's history that is almost always closed when anybody thinks to visit it. On the back it says, simply, "Dear Boris, I was so happy to hear that you'd passed the exams. Your mother, may her memory be a blessing, would be so proud. A real doctor. You'll be busier now than ever. But if you want to visit, there is always the extra room. Stay for as long as you like. Rosa is a good cook. You could sit by the sea and turn it into a real vacation. How about girls? Just a question. You should never be too busy for that. Sending my love and congratulations. Svi." The front of the postcard, a hand-colored photo of the sea, is reproduced on the wall placard, along with the words, "Svi Littenoff, author of The History of Love, was born in Poland and lived in Valparaiso for 37 years, until his death in 1978. This postcard was written to his oldest sister's son, Boris Perlstein. In smaller letters, printed in the lower left corner, it says, "Gift of Rosa Litvinoff." What it does not say is that his sister, Miriam, was shot in the head by a Nazi officer in the Warsaw Ghetto, or that aside from Boris, who escaped on a kinder transport and lived out the remaining years of the war and his childhood in an orphanage in Surrey, and later, Boris's children, who were at times smothered by the desperation and fear that accompanied their father's love. Litvinoff had no surviving relatives. It also doesn't say that the postcard was never sent, but any observant viewer can see that the stamp isn't canceled. What is not known about Svi Litvinoff is endless. It is not known, for example, that on his first and last trip to New York City in the fall of 1954, where Rosa insisted they go to show some editors his manuscript, he pretended to get lost from his wife in a crowded department store, wandered outside across the street, and stood blinking in the sunlight in Central Park. That while she searched for him along the displays of stockings and leather gloves, was a boat rowed by a young couple floating towards the reeds behind which he was standing, and the girl, thinking she was hidden, unbuttoned her shirt to reveal 2 white breasts. At the sight of these breasts had filled Litvinoff with regret, and he hurried back through the park to the department store, where he found Rosa, her face flushed and her hair damp at the nape of her neck, talking to a pair of policemen. That when she threw her arms around him, telling him he'd scared her half to death and asked where on earth he'd been, Litvinoff answered that he had gone to the bathroom and gotten locked inside the stall. Then later, in a hotel bar, the Litvinoffs met the one editor who would agree to see them, a nervous man with a thin laugh and nicotine-stained fingers, who told them that though he liked the book very much, he could not publish it because no one would buy it. As a token of his appreciation, he made them a gift of a book his publishing house had just brought out. After an hour, he excused himself, saying he had a dinner to attend, and hurried out, leaving the Litvinoffs with the check. That night, Rosa had fallen asleep. Litvinoff locked himself in the bathroom for real. He did this almost every night because he was embarrassed that his wife should have to smell his business while he sat on the toilet. He read the first page of the book the editor had given them. Also, he cried. It is not known that Litvinoff's favorite flower was the peony, that his favorite form of punctuation was the question mark, that he had terrible dreams and could only fall asleep, if he could fall asleep at all, with a glass of warm milk, that he often imagined his own death, that he thought the woman who loved him was wrong too, that he was flat-footed, that his favorite food was the potato, that he liked to think of himself as a philosopher, that he questioned all things, even the most simple, to the extent that when someone passing him on the street raised his hat and said, "Good day," Litvinoff often paused so long to weigh the evidence that by the time he'd settled on an answer, the person had gone on his way, leaving him standing alone. These things were lost to oblivion, like so much about so many who are born and die without anyone ever taking the time to write it all down. That Litvinoff had a wife who was so devoted is, to be frank, the only reason anyone knows anything about him at all. A few months after the book was published by a small publishing house in San Diego, Litvinoff received a package in the mail. At the moment the postman rang the bell, Litvinoff's pen had been poised above a blank piece of paper, his eyes watery with revelation, filled with the feeling that he was on the verge of understanding the essence of something. But when the bell rang, the thought was lost, and Litvinoff, ordinary again, dragged his feet down the dark hallway and opened the door where the mailman stood in the sunlight. "Good day," the mailman said, handing him a large, neatly wrapped brown envelope, and Litvinoff did not have to weigh the evidence for long to come to the conclusion that while a moment ago that day had verged on being excellent, more than he could have hoped for, it suddenly had changed like the direction of a squall on the horizon. This was farther confirmed when Litvinoff opened the package and found the typeset of The History of Love, along with the following brief note from his publisher. "The enclosed dead matter is no longer needed by us and is being returned to you." Litvinoff winced, not knowing it was accustomed to return the galley proofs to the author. He wondered if this would affect Rosa's opinion of the book. Not wanting to find out, he buried the note along with the matter, watching the embers sputter and curl in the fireplace. When his wife returned from her shopping, threw open the windows to let in the light and fresh air, and asked why he'd lit a fire on such a beautiful day, Litvinoff shrugged and complained of a chill. Of the 2,000 original copies printed of The History of Love, some were bought and read, many were bought and not read, some were given as gifts, some sat fading in bookstore windows serving as landing docks for flies, some were marked up with pencil, and a good many were sent to the paper compactor, where they were shredded to a pulp along with other unread or unwanted books, their sentences parsed and minced in the machine's spinning blades. Staring out the window, Litvinoff imagined the 2,000 copies of The History of Love as a flock of 2,000 homing pigeons that could flap their wings and return to him, to report on how many tears shed, how many laughs, how many passages read aloud, how many cruel closings of the cover after reading barely a page, how many never opened at all. He couldn't have known it, but among the original run of The History of Love, there was a flare of interest following Litvinoff's death, and the book was briefly returned to print with Rosa's introduction. At least one copy was destined to change a life, more than one life. This particular book was one of the last of the 2,000 to be printed, and sat for longer than the rest in a warehouse in the outskirts of Santiago, absorbing the humidity. From there, it was finally sent to a bookstore in Buenos Aires. The careless owner hardly noticed it, and for some years, it languished on the shelves, acquiring a pattern of mildew across the cover. It was a slim volume, and its position on the shelf wasn't exactly prime. Crowded on the left by an overweight biography of a minor actress, and on the right by the once best-selling novel of an author that everyone had since forgotten, it hardly left its spine visible to even the most rigorous browser. When the store changed owners, it fell victim to a massive clearance and was trucked off to another warehouse, foul, dingy, crawling with daddy-long-legs, where it remained in the dark and damp before finally being sent to a small second-hand bookstore not far from the home of the writer George Louis Borges. By then, Borges was completely blind and had no reason to visit the bookshop because he could no longer read, and because over the course of his life he'd read so much, memorized such vast portions of Cervantes, Chekhov, and Shakespeare, that all he had to do was sit in the darkness and reflect. Often visitors who loved the writer Borges would look up his address and knock on his door, but when they were shown in, they'd find the reader Borges, who would lay his fingers on the spines of his books until he located the one he wished to hear, and would hand it to the visitor, who had no choice but to sit and read it aloud to him. Occasionally he left Buenos Aires to travel with his friend Maria Kodama, dictating to her his thoughts on the felicity of a hot air balloon ride or the beauty of the tiger, but he did not visit the second-hand bookstore, even though while he could still see he had been on friendly terms with the owner. The owner took her time unpacking the books she'd bought cheaply and in bulk from the warehouse. One morning, going through the boxes, she discovered the mildewed copy of The History of Love. She'd never heard of it, but the title caught her eye. She put it aside, and during a slow hour in the shop, she read the opening chapter called The Age of Silence. I'm gonna stop there for today and save that next part for the next part in this series. Please like this video if you did like this video, and make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell if you would like to be notified when I come out with the next part in this series. This book just keeps getting better and better. It makes me cry a lot of the time. I remember when I did read this, I think I read it in high school or after high school, and it's one of the so long since I've actually filmed one of these because I've moved. So I pre-filmed all of those videos you've been watching so that I could move and have them come out for you. So yeah, this is exciting to be back to doing this. I'm excited. Okay, where did I leave off, you guys? I'm sorry if I've